Hey everyone, I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and today we get to take a look at the Bluetti, I'm not real sure how to pronounce it, B-L-U-E-T-T-I. I'm going to say Bluetti. Today we get to take a look at the Bluetti AC50s. This is a 500 watt power station that's comparable to the Jackery Explorer 500 or the Goal Zero, the new Yeti 500X, and we're going to see how it compares. We'll take a look at all the details of it. I've actually got my Jackery Explorer 500 right here. We're going to compare and contrast these. I did a video back at the end of December before Christmas comparing the Jackery 500 to the Goal Zero 500X, so there'll be lots of references to the Goal Zero from that video. For reference, you can go back and watch it. There you go, that's right there. And we'll see which one of these two and the Goal Zero, so these three are the best at whichever you want to do. So let's dive in. This is one that in that Jackery versus Goal Zero video, a lot of people put in the comments if I had any info about this one. The price point is fantastic, the design is great, but I didn't. And to be fully transparent with you, I did not reach out to Bluetti at all. They actually contacted me and asked if they could send this to me along with a solar panel and check it out for you guys. And so I was super thrilled that they asked, and because of the comments in the previous video, yeah, absolutely wanted to test this out. So thanks to Bluetti for sending this to me, but this is a completely unbiased review because we paid money for this. So just so you know, let's talk about the design. Comparing it to the Jackery, as you can see, it's a little bit shorter, it's about the same depth, and it's a little bit narrower on the width. I love the fact that this has a square design, so you can put this in something, you can stack stuff on top of it. I just like the square form factor. It's a lot better than having this permanently in place handle up there, which makes this really limited on where you can put things. The handle is foldable, drops down here, super handy. It I think weighs about 13 pounds. They're pretty comparable, same with the Goal Zero, but overall I think the design of this thing is excellent. It's all plastic. This is some sort of silicone rubber that keeps the edges, you know, from getting dinged up and stuff, and I like it. I like the look of it. You can get it in a couple different colors too. When you buy this, you get a little box of cables. You get the warranty card. It has a 2-year warranty, just like the Jackery. Not sure about the Goal Zero. The Jackery, I know you can register it and it will extend to 3 years. I don't think you can with this, but it's got the owner's manual. That's got you know, all the important information. A little estimated time of, you know, how long things will run on this thing, plus a handy dandy calculator. So if you want to know how long something's going to run with this, you can plug it in. It's got the readout display here that will tell you how much power it's pulling, and so then you can take the 500 watt hours divided by the power it's pulling. Let's say it's 50 watts. That gives you 10 hours estimated runtime, and it's approximate. You've got the standard charging brick. This is rated at 90 watts. It comes with the adapter for solar. Super handy to have. It also comes with the car adapter. Super handy. The Jackery also comes with the car adapter. The Goal Zero, you have to pay extra for it. And it comes with a extra USB-C to USB-C cord, which is kind of nice. Looking at the front of this thing, it does have buttons for power to turn it on in general. You do have to hold it down for just a second. And then separate buttons for the DC outputs and the AC output. The display on this, I actually really like the display. I like the colors, it's very crisp, and it just looks really nice. The Jackery has just a monotone LCD display. It definitely works, but I don't know, I just like the blue in the display on this thing. Both displays will tell you how much input you have coming in and how much output you have going out on both the AC and the DC outputs. The one downside that I do not like about the Bluetti display is that all it gives you are these 5 bars. So the top bar, you know, 80 to 100%, 60 to 80, 40 to 60, 20, and then 0. I wish it gave you more detail. The Jackery and the Goal Zero will both tell you this one has the bars, but also tells you it's at 80%. So you're not having to guess, is this at 90%, 95? Is it 82? Where, you know, it's just kind of a general range. This tells you exactly how much this has left. I wish the Blue Yeti had that. You've got your USB ports here. There are 4 USB type A ports. 2 of those are 3 amp outputs. And then you have a 45 watt USB-C output. And if you'll notice on the Jackery, there is no USB-C output. Zip, none. Just has 3 USB-A ports that are rated at 2.4 amps. And then it has 2 AC outputs. This has a 300 watt inverter inside that has a pure sine wave, so excellent there. And then you have your DC 12 volt output, your car cigarette lighter type plug. And then it does have 2 smaller, I think 6mm DC outputs. I honestly have no idea what uses these. I don't have anything that uses these. The Jackery has 2 of them as well, and I don't know what uses those. It has fans, outputs on either side, and then on the back it's got this light. Now let me talk about this light real quick, because the Goal Zero, they're like, meh, people don't need flashlights. The Jackery said, hey, let's put a little tiny flashlight on here. This can be the world's heaviest flashlight. Actually, the Jackery 1000 has the same thing too, so it's even heavier, but not a very practical little flashlight. Kind of a gimmick on the Jackery, honestly. But this is actually useful. At night, that actually puts out a nice spread of light. You can dim it, and you can blink it. Morse code for SOS if you need to signal somebody. But you know, if you've got a camp kitchen going on and you set that to the side, you've actually got pretty decent light output. Or maybe you're up in your tent and you know, set this down, whatever. Anyway, it's actually a functional light, unlike this thing. So props to Blue Yeti for that. But one thing that really sets this apart from its competition is right here on top, it has a wireless charging pad. So you can take your iPhone or Android phone or anything that's got wireless charging like this, pop it up on top, and it'll start charging. Super handy. Another nice design feature that I like is I like that the 12 volt DC port here has a cover, just to keep you know, dust and stuff out of it. You'll notice the Jackery, it's just open and exposed. All kinds of things to get in there. The input for charging this is located on the back, right here. On the Jackery, it's up here in the front. The Goal Zero actually has 1 input on the front and 1 input on the back, and both of those can be used simultaneously on the Goal Zero, which is a nice feature. Here, the only input is on the back. The Jackery, the only input is on the front. Personally, I like the input being on the front of the Jackery, because that means I can take this and push it up against a wall or, you know, the back seat or something as I'm trying to charge it. Whereas this, obviously you're gonna have a cord back here and you can't just stick it up flush. Now I know some people like the fact that it's on the back and not the front, just to clean up the look. You've got your input back here, all your outputs are back here, and it just kind of keeps those separate, cord management, that sort of thing. Personal preference, yeah, just telling you it's on the back. Jackery's is on the front. Goal Zero's is both. So let's talk performance of these things. The 500 watt battery packs seem to be the sweet spot in really having useful charging capabilities for more than just a day, for running a fridge, but not so much like the 1000 watts that can, you know, power some appliances and power tools and that sort of thing. If you're an overlander, an off-roader, a camper, just in some form of capacity, you need some sort of battery power like this. I think the 500 watt is the way to go unless you need crazy power. Let's talk about the input power. With the wall adapter, it's a 90 watt inputs. It'll charge in about 6 hours. I think this is about 7 to 8-ish hours, maybe 7 hours on this. The 12 volt car charger, it'll charge this in about 7 hours, which is pretty nice. The Jackery says 16 hours for their car charger. No clue why. The Goal Zero, it'll do it in a whopping 4.5 hours if you buy the extra adapter. For solar, the Blue Yeti will accept up to 120 watts of solar input. That's pretty good. The Jackery, it'll do 100. The Goal Zero, it'll do a whopping 180 watts of solar input. So if you've got 200 watts of solar panels on the Goal Zero, you can charge it super fast. At 120 watts, if you can actually get 120 watts worth of input from solar into this, depending on the sun and all that scientific-y stuff, this thing will charge in 4 hours. That's impressive. On the Jackery, if you can get 100 watts into it, it's going to get you there in about 6 hours. The battery in this is rated at 1,000 cycles. That's crazy impressive. The way they rate that, after 1,000 cycles of charging and discharging, your battery will be sitting at about 80% of its original capacity. So after 1,000 cycles, it's not dead, it's just got 80% left, so it's still very useful. This thing will last you a long time. The Jackery and the Goal Zero both have 500 cycles. So this has twice the lifespan of the Jackery and the Goal Zero. Crazy impressive with this. Now let's talk the output performance, because really that's what we need to know. How long can this power things? How much time do I have? How many times will this recharge my laptop? How many times will this charge my cell phone? The one output disadvantage that this has compared to the Jackery is that this has a 300 watt inverter with a peak output of 450 watts. That's not great. The Goal Zero, it has also 300 watts of continuous power, but it has a peak of 1,200 watts. So that's pretty good. The Jackery, it actually has a 500 watt inverter in it with a peak rating of 1,000 watts. But let's be real, if you're going to be running something on this, on any of these, that pull 300 watts or 500 watts, it's not gonna run very long. Because at 500 watts, this thing will get you an hour. At 300 watts, this will get you, a little over an hour and a half maybe. So just know, running things off the AC inverter is the least efficient way to use these, because not only does the battery in here have to power whatever's plugged in, but it also has to run the inverter too. So if you can avoid using the AC outputs, do so. For me personally, things like my camera battery has to be plugged into here. My drone charger, for those batteries plugged in here. It's usually those type of things that you're gonna use the AC outputs for. And let's be real, we don't buy these to run appliances on the trail. Leave your toaster ovens and your crock pots at home. We buy these to keep electronics and fridges powered, and that's where they shine. The questions that I get asked more than anything are, how long will these run a fridge? How long will it run a Cpap? The Blue Yeti actually came in at a very respectable 44 hours and 51 minutes on our Dometic CFX3 55 IM. It actually bested the Goal Zero in that test, which ran for 44 hours and 3 minutes, so almost an hour longer with this. But neither one of them trumped the Jackery, which ran for 55 hours and 57 minutes, almost 56 hours running that Dometic fridge. Crazy impressive on this. The other thing I get asked about all the time is Cpap machines. I don't sleep with a Cpap machine. I have zero experience with the Cpap machine, but a friend of mine actually let me borrow one. It is an older model, so I don't know if this is going to have all the bells and whistles of your Cpap machine, but I thought we would just plug this thing in and see what happens. Let's plug that in and turn it on. And this particular model will run with it not being hooked up. So, like I said, it's an older model. I don't know much about them, but it should give you at least an idea. So turn it on. Air is blowing. And here's one thing that I noticed with the Blue Yeti. I don't know if it's this particular model. I'm going to reach out to them and find out. But if you're running something with a very low AC draw, and I'm thinking under 10 watts, for some reason the readout doesn't show you how much it is. This is showing 0, and it's working. So I don't know. Let's plug this into the Jackery and see what it shows. There we go. It's running. The Jackery says it's pulling 13 watts steady. But at just 15 watts, in that ballpark, this thing's going to run a Cpap for a long time. Definitely more than, I think, 30 hours. So depending on the output of your particular Cpap machine, yeah, it's going to do really well, and for sure going to take care of you for one night, 2 nights when you're out on the trail or camping or whatever. So let's do a couple other things. This is the camera battery to my DSLR. Plug it in there. It does actually need to be charged a little bit. And once again, the Bluetti is showing 0 because the power draw for this is so small it doesn't register. So let's plug this into the Jackery and see what it does. The Jackery showing, again, 13 watts, about the same as that Cpap was doing, and it just doesn't register on the screen on the Bluetti. I don't know that I would necessarily call that a flaw, but not a deal breaker. Let's see what my drone battery does. So yeah, it's pulling 37 watts to charge the drone batteries. Not bad. What about when you're camping in the heat? I love my little USB powered fan. Let's check it out. Plug that in. We're going to turn it to high because it's really hot. And we're pulling 5 watts. So at 5 watts, this thing will run a fan for days. Both of these companies make solar panels for these. Like I said before, the Jackery is a 100 watt panel. The Bluetti is a 120 watt panel, and I happen to have both of them right here. This is the Bluetti. You can see it's nice and compact. And this is the Jackery. Both are very thin, but this is definitely smaller as far as packing goes. This one uses magnets. It's just 2 folding panels. Super simple and very clean design. I like it, but 100 watts. And the Bluetti, it takes a little bit longer to deploy because it's got buckles on the back, and it has 4 panels. But it's 120 watts. Now, it's super cold, and I have not tested these panels yet, but I will in a separate video because I've actually got another solar panel from Overland Solar, and it's rated at 130 watts. And so I'm curious to see how these solar panels compare to one another and which one does the best. I've actually got 2 of the Jackeries that you can run in. You can run them together. I don't know if it's series or parallel, but get a lot more power out of the Jackeries. Let's talk price, because performance matters, and let's be real, price matters. The Bluetti for just the power station, $429. Not bad. Less than $1 per watt hour. The Jackery comes in at $499, and there's currently a $50 coupon on Amazon, so you can get this for $449. That's a heck of a deal. The Goal Zero, it sits at $699. There are no coupons, there are no sales. It's just $700 for it. Between the 3 of them, I don't even consider that one an option. These also come in kits with the power station and the solar panels. The Jackery 500 with the 100 watt solar panel, it comes in at $749. Not too bad. The Goal Zero, it comes in a kit, but it only has the option of a 50 watt panel, or actually 2 different 50 watt panels. One of those is $799 and one of those is $899. Goal Zero does make 100 watt and even 200 watt panels, but you have to buy those separately. They don't come as a kit, and I don't know why. The Bluetti kit with the 120 watt solar panel can be had for $699. Not a bad deal at all. So, in the end, I'm not doing this video as to say buy this over this. My main point is to give you the information that you need to make the decision yourself. If it were me, for my needs, and I were buying one of these for camp, for overlanding, to keep a fridge running, to keep drone batteries, camera batteries, cell phones, laptops charged. Which one of these would I personally buy? I'd buy the Blue Yeti. I mean, it's just crazy impressive. I don't need high power out of the AC outputs. I like the design of it better. I like the wireless charging on it better. I like the fact that it has 45 watt USB-C output to keep my laptop and other things charged. I like just the little detail that it's got a cover, and I actually like the little light on the back of it. The form factor is better. So if I were buying one myself and didn't already own this one, I'd go with this one. But that's knowing now what I didn't know then. You know, it's hard to just look at specs. Jackery is a trusted brand name, and so that's why when we were looking at buying one for ourselves, we went with Jackery. We had friends that owned Jackeries, and so that's why we bought the Jackery. But now that I have this, if I were doing it again, I would buy the Blue Yeti. I wouldn't even consider the Goal Zero. That's just ridiculous money for performance that's not as good as these two, just to be honest with you. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. There will be other videos. I actually have a Jackery 1000. We've been playing around with it, you know, using it for like emergency type situations. We've got snowpocalypse going on right now. We've actually got 12 inches of snow on the ground in Arkansas, which I haven't seen in 30 years. We haven't had actually measurable snow in like 5 years. So we've been, you know, there's been threats of power outages and our electricity company doing rolling blackouts, that sort of thing. So I've been curious, in a pinch, what would those, you know, what would the 1000 run? Would it run our fridge? Would it run, you know, a toaster oven and those sort of things? So that video is coming out. And as soon as the weather gets nicer and we've got some great sunshine, I'm going to test the 3 solar panels, that technically 4 because I've got 2 Jackeries, but I'm going to test the solar panels with all of these, the 1000, which can accept 2 solar panels worth of input, and see how the solar panels rank. So great things to come. And as soon as this weather gets by, I'm getting back out into the woods. The Ozarks, the Washita National Forest, we actually had an epic trip planned for this week that got canceled because of Snowmageddon. That trip's going to be postponed, but hopefully my wife and I are getting out this weekend, and we'll take her Grand Cherokee and my Jeep and out with a friend who also has a cool YouTube channel, and we're going to go do some wheeling in the snow to get some epic photography and drone shots and put together what's hopefully a pretty video. So anyway, that was a whole lot of rambling. Thanks for checking it out. You may notice I've got a new shirt. Our apparel company that we partner with, Long Creek Overland, they do a fantastic job. I love the sweatshirt. There's a link in the description below, all other kinds of goodies there. And if you like this channel, all the wheeling, all this informative stuff, and you want to help kind of support the channel in a tangible way, we've got the Patreon subscription service now. You can get access to all of our routes and waypoints and stuff from our trips. Crazy impressed with how that's gone just in the 6 weeks that we've had it. Already 32 patrons. Cannot thank them enough. It's humbling, and I appreciate it. And certainly, you know, hit the like button if this was helpful. Subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to this channel. I've got a goal to hit 25,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I really think we can do it because things are taking off. And so if you're watching this and not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button because we've got some epic stuff coming up this year. And more gear reviews, multiple rigs, my Wrangler, my wife's Grand Cherokee, Trailhawk, all of my friends, you know, the 4Runners, Tacomas, Colorado ZR2s. Great thing about this channel is we're not just a Jeep channel. We've got it all. So anyway, that's enough rambling. I'm going to go back inside where it's warm now. Thanks for watching. Bye.